Okay, I think the importance about this part is that we can't set out our outcomes, our intended outcomes, and measure them, and expect this bit to happen by magic. Okay, so we can't expect our students to be creative, innovative, analytical, unless we have a learning environment where they get to practice those things. Okay, that's the key to it. All right. The second question is really going back to that map that you created. How many different examples of students constructing their own knowledge did you identify? So it's looking at all the different ways. Okay, so students can construct their own knowledge by listening and interpreting what you're saying, but that's just one way. Okay, how many different types of ways have you got on your map? All right, and then the last one: to what extent do your teaching activities act as stepping stones for students to successfully reach the learning goals? Okay, so what are you doing in the classroom that helps that process along? Okay, or is what you're doing in the classroom not really helping them achieve those learning outcomes at all? Okay, so again, you just evaluate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And that's just a very personal reflection. Having done that exercise, what honestly do you feel the extent to which you're helping students achieve their learning outcomes? Okay. That concludes this morning's session. We'll meet back up at 2. If you get hold of one of your module learning, what would you call them? The handouts? What do you call that document that you showed me just a moment ago? Syllabus, yeah, for a module or a topic. If you can bring one of those either electronically or in hard copy this afternoon session, we're going to be exploring those with you. Okay? Grab your seats, we'll get started. I've given you each a piece of paper. Has anybody not got one? No? All good? Okay. Right, so what I want you to do, some of you will have a word that you're familiar with. Excuse me. Some of you may not be familiar with it. What I want you to do is, these are taken from this handbook, which is a little bit dated, but some of the words, hopefully all the ones that I've given you are still relevant. What I want you to do is make a note just on your own. Think about what's that definition mean. If you don't know, absolutely no idea, you can probably cheat and Google it. But first of all, just have a little think about what does it mean to you, and is it relevant to your teaching at Bay Kent, to teaching in Turkey? Okay? So just a few minutes to think about what that word actually means. Well, just what do you think it means? What do you think it means? What does it mean to you? Yeah. It doesn't matter. This is not a test. I'm not going to come around and see if you've got it right or wrong.
Not like that. What it means for us is
yes.
make more different than
yeah, that's right.
from
Exactly.
yeah.
So just for you, your perspective of that word, yeah. Okay, all good? My son gets his pocket money for reordering these for me, so he's just been sacked. Okay, right, so... so everybody found their word. Anybody got any thoughts about how it changes from the actual definition that you had originally? Anything interesting coming up there? Or did you all have a good idea? I'm not saying that the definition in the glossary is correct because it's quite dated. Anybody find anything new? Yeah?
My definition is experiential learning, which just fit my topic of design. We use this kind of learning typology. First of all, we offer to make students a model of what they think about the particular subject. Right? Then they do a scale model, and then they see beforehand, and it is a kind of learning platform.
Right. And then had you used? Have you heard the term before?
Yes. It is common for architectural education in Turkey, and I'm sure it is common and base for the international in architectural education.
Lovely. Okay, right, now, so we've had a little look at those words, you've thought about your context and the definition of the book, but now we come to the real point of this task. First of all, right, we've done that bit. Working in your groups, can you decide what were the learning outcomes of the task you've just done? Okay? So, don't worry about the definition that you looked up. What do you think the learning outcomes of that task was? Just have a quick chat in your groups and come up with what you think they were. Right, so we'll just go around each group, come up with, just throw out one of the learning outcomes you thought were debated from that group. So start with you guys, just one.
It's a constructivist approach, in my opinion, because we are kind of deep learning, because maybe in the learning outcome, we can say we evaluated. We compare our former understanding with the exact definition.
Okay, yes, so you're building your own learning, you come up with your own idea and then comparing the definition. And another one in there where you're comparing. Yeah? I'll come back to you. Go on.
Students will be able to identify and also define the target project.
Right, so you're being able to identify, define the vocabulary, so that's the core knowledge, yeah?
So what we're doing now is the continuation of the morning session,
Yes,
right? We just
yes.
made a chart, okay, how we use the environment,
Yes.
learning environment.
Okay, yep, that's it, okay. Anybody else want to come up with the learning outcome that we developed? Learning outcome in that task? You guys over there, what do you think the learning outcome was that task? Okay.
To explain technical and educational terms using teaching and learning in higher education.
Okay, yeah, so that's a very nice, you put that into a module handbook, that's a very nice definition, thank you. You guys over here, any of the learning outcome from that task? No, nothing else? You guys at the back, any other learning outcomes from that task? Oh, sorry, you weren't here. Yeah. You guys at the back, anything else?
Recalling core concepts.
Okay. Yeah, recalling, so you were recalling, you started off having to remember stuff that you knew before, yeah? And you guys here all had examples from there. Anybody else think of anything else that they could do?
I can say proposals, proposal of ideas or proposals of
Projects? Yes.
after all this process.
Yeah, okay, proposals of ideas. And then I think there was a contextualisation as well, wasn't there? Getting the formal definition and then contextualising it in your own environment. Okay, so lots of learning outcomes from that, very short task, potentially. How useful would it have been if I'd have told you when you come in that was the learning outcome? If when you come in, I say, right, today, the learning outcome is you're going to understand some core knowledge of some terms of higher education, you're going to compare and contrast, and you're going to contextualise some terms from a UK context into a Turkish context. How useful do you think? It's just an open question. How useful would that have been for you?
Time saving, time and energy saving.
Well, if I'd have said that at the start, would you have preferred it if I said it at the start or not? Rather than just
If
give
you
it a
know
chance.
the learning outcomes, it will show you a way. You will choose your method of teaching.
Yes,
You
yes.
first know learning outcomes, and
Yeah.
you will make
So, as a student, would you have preferred me to have told you at the beginning that's what we were going to do? Yes or no? Is there any advantage of not telling you what the learning outcome was? Any thoughts?
Keeping the suspense alive.
Yes, thank you. So the question was there any advantage to me giving you the task without telling you where we were going? So we had one response here that it was a suspense. If I'd have perhaps spent the first 5 minutes detailing what we were going to do, you'd have been bored by the time you actually got to the task, rather than do it and then go, oh yeah, that's what I learned after. So I'm just giving you those examples as a contrast, you know, because we get very prescriptive. We have to tell students what they're going to learn, but sometimes it's important that you capture it afterwards. Yeah. Anybody else got any views on that? Anybody else would have preferred I told you what the learning outcomes were at the beginning? No, you prefer not. Yeah. It's interesting. It's just the reason I do it like this is just to provoke, you know, because we can get very. I don't want you to come away from here thinking, right, I have to tell the students all the learning outcomes every time I do something, so they know where we're going. Because sometimes it can be a voyage of discovery for themselves. And then the next question: did you note anything else apart from the strict definition I asked you to find out? Did anybody read anything else, notice anything else while they were doing that task?
Accreditation.
Who was speaking there? Oh, yes, sorry.
I saw a few words. I think most of us did that because your IC recognized other things.
Yes.
I saw accreditation, which was not, I think, very important, but
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And also
Why
I
that
saw
kind of
Bologna
stuff?
process.
Yeah. Learning process as well.
Yeah. So learning outcomes can be quite restrictive as well. If I say, well, all you're going to learn is the definition of this word, you might only focus, well, that's all I've got to know. Whereas actually leaving it a bit freer, I know it's a little bit artificial there, but leaving it a bit freer, you automatically kind of take aboard other information if you're not just going down this single journey. I'm not saying that. Do you want to switch that fan back on over there behind you? Was it working? Just before we all keel over.